Would you like to be free of legal charge? Well, it would require you to have knowledge of truth and then to act on that. We're going to go into the scriptures at John 8. We're going to keep pushing this out to you continuously and repeating it. It may sound like I'm very repetitive on a lot of points in the videos, but wouldn't that be required to learn? To keep on bringing out the very key truthful points over and over again? So when we go to John 8 verse 32, it says, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Now, we already went to conscience, which would relate to knowledge of God, as we found out even in the legalist dictionaries of Black's Law. So without you having the knowledge of truth that comes from God, moral conscience that knows the difference between what is right and what is wrong, you can't go forward without having that knowledge if you're going to walk a path of truth. So when we go to Colossians chapter 2, 13 to 15, and uniquely the American Standard Bible, which we've quoted before, I think is a little bit more up-to-date and accurate under the current situation, because it basically stated in Colossians 2, 13 to 15, the King James said, blotted out the handwriting of ordinances written contrary, took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross, speaking about Jesus and his execution of the will of God that canceled all sin and all debt. Now, uniquely, the legal world says, no, that didn't occur. They actually just keep it in a BC era, not in an AD era. And so the BC area says that Jesus Christ didn't really happen. So we'll leave the dates on the calendar ambiguous and unclear. We'll let you assume that it means AD, but it doesn't. So they keep you in a bankruptcy position that your debt was never canceled and that you're now acting as a surety for the debt. That's why the governments are in bankruptcy protection. They can't pay, so they're protected, but you're outside the government and you're working for their creditor because you took on a bond of debt. And you said, no, I can surety this debt. So you take their bankruptcy certificate and then you start acting as a surety for it. And you wonder why you're registered into a SIN debt program. That's why they call it the SIN program in Canada. It originally was called the SIN program in the United States. It was called the Social Insurance Program. And you got a social insurance number. But they later changed that in the US to the Social Security Program. They socially secure the fact that they will actually mandate and control those that are willing to act as sureties for an artificial debt that doesn't exist, but only exists in fiction. So the American Standard Bible says that he canceled out, speaking of Jesus Christ, canceled out the certificate of debt. So if you're carrying a certificate of debt and acting as a surety for it, you certainly couldn't be under the blessings of the redemption that Jesus Christ brought. You're walking and saying you deny that. And that's how humanism works. Humanism is based on a system of secularism that says that man can fix his own problems, he can perfect himself, which is totally against everything scriptural of the knowledge of God, and therefore you can basically pay for your own debts, and therefore it denies the divinity of Jesus Christ and the whole concept and belief that there is a creator, a natural or basically a supreme creator. So which side are you on? Are you on the truth or are you on the fiction? Would you like to be free of charge?